Right, and now an update coming in from Shillong in Meghalaya. The Police Bazar area in Shillong has been shut down after miscreants torched a vehicle. These are the visuals that you see on your screen, and they also burnt down a car and clothes from a shop in Shillong in Meghalaya. This is the Police Bazar area. Let's remember, this is as protests have now intensified in Assam and other parts of the northeast after the Citizenship Amendment Bill. Just to give you a quick brief of what's happening in Assam, the Guwahati police chief was removed even as thousands of protesters took to the streets in defiance of this curfew imposed on the city after Parliament cleared the contentious Citizenship Amendment Bill just last night. Now, as protests spread across the northeast, the face-off between police and residents of Assam has turned violent. Now, after police opened fire at protesters in Lalungaon, the protesters allegedly hurled stones and bricks at the policemen following security personnel firing at them. Now, 4 people have been reportedly injured in the attack. Meanwhile, Assam BJP MLA Binod Hazarika's house was also set on fire in Assam's Chabua. Let me quickly go across to my colleague Arindam, who's been tracking all the developments very closely. Now joining us live. Arindam, we understand that the internet has been suspended in Assam for another 48 hours, and now curfew also imposed in other parts of the state. Can you take us through the latest?
Well, the situation in Assam and the northeast remains tense and volatile, particularly in Assam. And in Guwahati, the law and order situation is deteriorating time from time. We are right now on the Guwahati-Shillong road, and this road you can see, though it's marred in darkness right now because the street lights have been shut off by the administration as a mark of precaution to prevent any untoward incident. But you can see the protesters are coming out in large numbers, and they're setting on fire tires on the streets, blocking traffic. In fact, they have put a lot of debris on this busy Guwahati-Shillong road. Despite an indefinite curfew in place here in Guwahati and also in some other parts of Assam, and the army conducting flag marches in different parts of Assam, including in Guwahati city, and internet ban has been extended for another 48 hours. But that is not preventing the protesters from coming out in large numbers to the streets and protesting against the Citizenship Amendment Bill. There are reports of police protester clash at several places. In fact, in Guwahati also, several police protester clash have taken place in which police had to resort to lathi charge, tear gas selling, and also firing in the air to disperse the mob, in which some policemen as well as protesters got injured. So the situation is deteriorating day by day. In fact, today a huge rally was organized by the All Assam Students Union at the Latashil ground in Guwahati, and this was against the Citizenship Amendment Bill. And this rally was attended by thousands and thousands of people from across the city, defying the curfew orders, defying the army's flag march, and defying the heavy security personnel present in the city, and also defying all the violent protests that is taking place. Thousands of people assembled at the Latashil ground to protest the Citizenship Amendment Bill. So as the time is passing by, the situation is only getting worse. And right now you can see this is the busy Guwahati-Shillong road, and this is the 6-mile area of Guwahati, where you can see protesters have come out and have set on fire tires on the street, blocking traffic, and life has completely come to a standstill here in Guwahati.
Right. Arindam, if you can also take us through the movement, because we understand that passenger trains to Tripura and Assam have been suspended completely. Operations at Dibrugarh airport have also been temporarily suspended. The passengers have now been moved elsewhere. Can you just give us details of that as well?
Yes, surface transport as well as railway transportation and air connectivity has been affected by this deteriorating law and order situation, because people are not able to reach the railway station, airports or bus stations because of this protest, which are turning violent. In fact, flight operations from Dibrugarh airport has been temporarily suspended. In fact, people at the Guwahati's Lokapura Gopinath Bordolo airport are also facing a lot of hurdles to reach the airport, and also coming out from the airport and reaching to their destined place. So definitely this this bandh and the protests have affected all the modes of communication, whether it be air, railways or surface communication.
Right, Arindam, thank you so much for bringing us those updates. This is the latest that we're getting in right now from different parts of the northeast. Let's remember that have been protesting, that is on edge after the parliament passed the contentious Citizenship Amendment Bill. In Assam, MLA Binod Hazarika's residence was set ablaze. The head office of the AGP in Guwahati was also vandalized, and a curfew has also been imposed in Tinsukia in Assam from 5 o'clock. That's so that it's already imposed in that area in Assam. Meanwhile, 5 people have also been arrested in Kokrajhar and for burning effigies, while police have opened fire on protesters in Guwahati. Now, we have some more updates coming in, this time from Tripura. Right, the joint movement against the Citizenship Amendment Bill group has decided to call off the stir in Tripura. The protest has been called off after an assurance from the Chief Minister Biplab Kumar Deb for a dialogue with the Union Home Minister. This is the latest that we're currently getting in from Tripura as we speak. One particular group has decided to call off the strike after receiving an assurance. Tripura, let's remember, also largely peaceful but definitely tense, with widespread protests now earlier and yesterday spreading to tribal areas. But now this one particular group, that's the Joint Movement Against Citizenship Amendment Bill group, has decided to call off the stir in Tripura, and this protest has been called off after an assurance from the Chief Minister Biplab Kumar Deb for a dialogue with Union Home Minister Amit Shah. And a quick roundup and update of what's happening in Assam. Curfew has been imposed in Assam's capital, Guwahati, which has been witnessing massive protests for the past few days. Now, due to this, hundreds of travellers have been left stranded because of the indefinite curfew and internet clampdown, obviously, in the city. Cab services have remained largely closed, and those who are even willing to ferry passengers and people are charging exorbitant fares. Now, according to the police, curfew has also been imposed in Jorhat from 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. tomorrow to prevent vandalism at night. However, despite this curfew, people are still venturing out to the street to protest, and our reporter Parbeena brings us this ground report. Let's take a look.
Anger still continues on the streets of Assam's Guwahati, and people are still out there to register their anger. People have come out in numbers. There are young people who are out there on the streets sloganeering against the government as well as the state government, whom they believe that the state has failed them, and hence they will walk until and unless the state government, they say, does something about it. Here are the visuals you can see. They are walking towards the street which leads to Secretariat, even though we know that the deployment is huge of paramilitary forces, but they are angry and hence they continue to walk. We are seeing a lot of young people there who are on the street. Remember, this is the day after the bill got passed in Rajya Sabha. These are angry people, students who are out there on the street and very unhappy and feeling failed about the Citizenship Amendment Bill being passed both in Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. The upset people here who are walking towards the street, you can see a lot of people still joining and sloganeering in a chorus. They are very angry with the state as well as the central government as well as the chief minister.
First time even I am witnessing all this, and I can only say this is all very unfortunate event for all the common people of this world, of this whole country, and especially for the northeastern states. And this shouldn't have happened.
Government मतलब जिस पब्लिक ने गवर्नमेंट को उनको वहाँ बिठाया है, एटलीस्ट उनको सुनना चाहिए था, कॉमन पब्लिक को उनकी राय लेनी चाहिए थी कि हमें क्या करना चाहिए. आसाम आज शांतिपूर्वक चल रहा था सब कुछ, अचानक ये सब हुआ तो किसी रीजन से हुआ. यहाँ के लोग गुस्सा है तो किसी रीजन से गुस्सा है.
We all are seeing that people are against this bill. Then why the government is in such a hurry to bring this bill?
We also have Vangamala Saleh, KS journalist, now joining us from Imphal as we speak. Good evening. Thank you so much for joining us here on Mirror Now. Give us a sense of what's happening in Imphal in light of the tense situation in the area. We understand security, of course, has been increased across the northeast. But give us a sense of what's happening particularly in Imphal.
Well, unlike the other states of Assam, the other northeastern states of like Assam and Tripura, where there's lots of protests, here in Imphal, in the state of Manipur, we have peaceful and calm because after the Union Home Minister Amit Shah had implemented on Monday regarding the inner line permit in our state, people are happy about it. So there are no such protests about it related to CAP, but there are a lot of a series of candlelight vigils, public meeting as well as rallies, just to show the happiness to the central leaders. So we don't have such kind of heavy protests or like a kind of issues over here. The situation is quite okay.
Right. Vangamala, you can also take us through if any kind of restrictions have been imposed, particularly as you're saying that Imphal is largely peaceful and calm, and people actually have been expressing really happiness at what the government's decisions are after the assurance that they received from the Home Minister, which they claim are satisfactory. Have any kind of restrictions been imposed? Has internet been suspended there? Have any forces been pressed in? If you can give us those details.
Well, we don't have such kind of restriction when it comes to internet and all. But yes, before the gap was tabled on in the Lok Sabha on Monday, there were lots of apprehensions, and people were having that in case if this gap was implemented in our state, then the situation might be worse. But yes, as I had mentioned earlier, on Monday, once the Union Minister had announced that our state has an extension of the ILD, people are happy, especially the indigenous population, which we have around like 18 lakhs, including the hills and the valleys. So the populations over here are happy about, and in fact, even the opposition party have welcomed, and also the civil organizations of the state, which have been voiced against regarding this gap, are welcome about the extension of ILD in our state. So we don't have such restrictions when it comes to internet.
Right, Vangamala Sale, thank you so much for bringing us those updates from Imphal, where we understand, fortunately, the situation is largely peaceful and calm. We also have Princess Giri Rashir, a journalist, now joining us, we understand, from Shillong, which has, of course, experienced some kind of violence. Princess Giri, you can just take us through the latest. We understand vehicles were torched. The entire Police Bazar area has also been shut down because of some incidents of vandalism and violence. Take us through the latest.
Well, yes, absolutely. Cars were being vandalized. Just now, there was another van that has been vandalized at Jayao. That is a closed area to Motfront. And right now, I'm standing here in Motfront, where you can see the security has briefed up, and all the shops have been shut down here in Police Bazar and also area of Motfront. As you can see, the police officials are on standby, and also, as mentioned earlier, all the shops have been shut, and even vehicles have stopped plying at this moment. This is the scenario here in Shillong, Meghalaya, where the situation
To have lost the line there with Princess, but we'll try and get back to her in just a moment. Princess Giri Rashir, a journalist from Shillong, taking us through the latest. These are also visuals that we showed you earlier that came in from Shillong in Meghalaya, where the Police Bazar area was completely shut down after protesters burnt and vandalized a car. They burnt down a clothes shop as well. So, of course, now restrictions have been imposed as well. Right, let me also now quickly bring back from Imphal now joining me, Vangamala Sale, still with us. Vangamala, you told us that the situation is largely peaceful, it is largely calm, since the people over there are, they're satisfied with the Home Minister's assurance. If you can just give us more details of that, what exactly is the stand when it comes to the Citizenship Amendment Bill in Imphal? What are the reservations that that particular state has?
Well, as I had mentioned earlier, in case if the CAB had implemented in our state, there would be a huge, uproar from the people itself. But since the union government had already announced that our state will be implemented only the ILD, which is the inner line permit, which will be protected the indigenous population from the influx of the illegal migrants, because being Manipur is one of the northeast states which is bordering with our neighboring country, which is Myanmar. So with this ILB, the population over here is very much happy with the center leaders. And in fact, on 10th, right after a day after the union government had announced the ILB in our state, on 10th, the state government, which has been ruled by the PTB in alliance with some of the regional parties, have organized a public thanksgiving in order to a kind of appreciation to the center leaders. So overall, the people are happy with the decision, with the extension of ILB here. And when it comes to CAB, all Manipur Student Union is in solidarity with the Northeast Student Organization in order to scrap the CAB from the whole Northeast, the entire Northeast.
So Vangamala, even the shutdown that was in fact there in different districts of Imphal, has all of that ended now? Now that the people, of course, have been assured after Parliament passed this, with of course the assurance of the inner permit line, has all of that been lifted, or is it still largely quiet?
Well, as after the ILB has extended in our state, the state is absolutely quiet and absolutely peace at the moment, and hopefully this will continue.
Right, Vangamala Saleh, thank you so much for bringing us those updates. I also have Richu, a journalist now, also joining us from Tinsukia. Richu, we understand that curfew has just been imposed in Tinsukia starting 5 p.m. If you can give us the latest, what's happening there currently?
Yes, I am at Thana Charali in Tinsukia.
Okay.
Curfew has been imposed from 5 p.m. for 12 hours till tomorrow to 5 a.m. But there are hundreds of protesters who have defied curfew, and they are at the Thana Charali protesting the Citizen Bill, and they are burning tires. On the other side, there are policemen, security personnel, and the situation is very tense. Throughout the day, there was reports of clashes and violence occurring at several places coming in Tinsukia and Dibrugarh district. Few hours from now, the BJP MLA residence in Chabua was torched by protesters, and there was an ambulance which was also burned at Panitola in Tinsukia district earlier in the day. The situation is quite tense, and we are getting inputs that additional army troops might be called to contain the situation.
Right, and Richu, if you can also give us details, like you rightly said, about the kind of protests that are taking place and the forces that are being deployed over there. You said additional army troops will be called in. If you can just take us through the particular areas where the situation is bad.
In Upper Assam, particularly Tinsukia and Dibrugarh districts are on boil. If I take you since last evening, after the last night when this bill was passed in Rajya Sabha, ever since the bill was passed, there was series of violence that were reports came in. Panitola railway station in Tinsukia was burned down. Minutes later, reports came that Chabua railway station was also tossed down. The chief minister residence in Dibrugarh was attacked, and the Dibrugarh MLA residence was attacked. RSS office was tossed in Dibrugarh, after which Dibrugarh district administration had claimed indefinite curfew at 11:20 p.m. last night. Thereafter, reports came in Tinsukia. There was a traffic booth which was vandalized, and there was a firing outside the residence of BJP MP from Duliajan, Rameshwar Teli. In that clash, the OC of Duliajan police station was sustained bullet injury in his shoulders, and a CRPF constable was also injured with bullets, and they both were evacuated by Indian Army.
Right, Richu, we also heard some assurances coming in from the Prime Minister earlier in the day. We heard some assurances coming in from the Assam Chief Minister, but obviously that does not seem to have had any impact on scores of protesters who, despite the curfew, are defying it, coming out and protesting, and it's only getting worse by the hour.
Yeah, the protesters are not ready to accept anything apart from removing this Citizen Amendment Bill. Their only demand is that the bill has to be done away. This act has to be removed by whatever means. They are not ready to buy any words or any kind of assurance from anywhere. And the protests are emerging every year and there. There are tires are being burned up, roads, national highways have been blocked, trees have been cut and put on the roads to put a blockage across the national highway from Tinsukia to Dibrugarh. And people are sitting on railway tracks, and trains have been cancelled, flights have been cancelled. and army have been was requisite yesterday itself by Dibrugarh and Tinsukia administration. They have been in fact deployed and flag march have taken place. But there are reports that there forces there is a requirement of additional troops, and hence they are discussing whether additional troops should be called in or not.
Right, Richu, thank you so much for bringing us those updates coming in from Tinsukia. Let's remember where curfew has just been imposed. Now, also joining me from Eswal is Ezreela Dalidia Fanaya, another journalist. Thank you so much for joining us on Mirror Now this evening. We also understood Mizoram shortly, a couple of days ago, joined these region-wide protests against the Citizenship Amendment Bill. If you can take us through the latest with regards to security deployment, with regards to protests, and of course, the general mood of the people.
Okay. Like in Mizoram, since Mizoram is exempted from CAB, we are not protesting that violently, okay? But we're also standing by with our brothers and sisters from the other states. So, like yesterday, there was a total ban throughout the state, but it was a peaceful total ban. And like there was burning of the draft bill of the CAB, and today there was burning of the effigies of our MP Silal Rosanga and the Home Minister Amit Shah. So more than that, nothing has happened much. But tomorrow there might be a rally going on. So that has not been confirmed yet, but yes, there might be a rally going on tomorrow in protest of the CAB.
Ezreela, thank you so much for those updates. Vangamala Saleh from Imphal also bringing us those updates from Imphal. So Imphal and Aizawl, we understand, largely peaceful, of course, with the protesters definitely saying that they're standing by with the rest of the Northeast region, with their brothers and sisters of the Northeast region. But in Shillong, we understand there have been incidents of violence, there have been incidents of vandalism, where the Police Bazar area has been completely shut down. Guwahati, as we know, has been the epicenter of these protests. We're bringing you latest updates from different parts of the state, different districts where curfew has been imposed. The latest being in Tinsukia from 5 p.m. this evening. From Shillong as well, with Princess Giri bringing us those updates, and of course Richu bringing us those latest updates from Tinsukia. That's a wrap on this edition of The Big Story and the broadcast. But stay tuned, more news and updates as the unrest in the Northeast continues.